What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day, or at least is having a lovely day and is ready to get into the TA. All right, so before we go over the TA, we're going to go over what Powell said this morning, right? So Powell did end up saying that we would be getting a well, we don't know if we will be getting that, but he said he is open to a 50 basis point hike on March 22nd. All right, so that is actually something that we were talking about. We were saying, like, literally not too long ago, this is what I am expecting. All right, literally over the past few days, I was saying a 50 or 75 basis point hike is what I am expecting to come out of the March 22nd meeting. All right, a hot CPI report, all right, guarantees that you get a big rate hike over on FOMC day, all right? But here's the thing, all right? Even if we do have a cool CPI print, all right, or a tame CPI print, I still expect Powell to bring down the hammer, all right? So let's just go over that right now. Okay, so Powell chases the 2-year, all right? The 2-year is exploding, all right? It is exploding. When Powell was taking his victory lap back here, okay? Do you see where this is at? 4.1%? Well, it's at 5% right now. Guys, there is almost 100 basis points of difference here, which is why I say 50 to 75 basis points is likely going to be what we get on the March 22nd FOMC meeting, all right? Even if we have a cool CPI report, and the cool CPI report pretty much shocks the bond market and starts making it come back to the downside, all right? If all of these contracts start coming back to the downside, all right, there you go. Okay, but even if you get that, I don't think it's coming down even close to where we were before. And there you go. There will still be the 50 basis points of difference, and they still will do the 50 basis point hike regardless of a cool CPI report or not. All right, so just know that I think hammer comes down on March 22nd. That is what I think we have loading. That is this second red line over here. If you guys are new to the channel, let me just give you a quick little key to our charts here, all right? So blue lines are our support and resistance lines, all right? Our trend lines are simple support and resistance levels, all right? Green lines, those are our gap fills, all right? Yellow lines, those are our targets, okay? I do have this. And this yellow pocket you see up here, right? That is just the golden pocket. That is our Fibonacci 0.618 to 0.78. All right, guys. And yeah, all right. So let's actually start off by reminding all of us of what's going on with the weekly time frame. Okay, the weekly oscillators over on Mr. VIX are currently in oversold territory. Okay, they're coming up out of oversold territory, and we have a weekly bullish Harami candlestick formation. This is something I coined as the bottom marker a while back over here. This is when I said, hey, all right, we likely have that popping up, all right? And we have that popping up again. All right. As we learned, all right, it doesn't have to mark the bottom, but it is something that is more often than not at VIX bottoms. Okay. Throughout this bear market. Okay. It has been at, I want to say 5 out of 6 big bottoms. Then we did have this one over here, and it kind of was at the bottom. You did end up going lower. All right. 2 weeks after that, but then you end up having your VIX bottom. All right. Nevertheless, we do have that popping up right now. And it's coming at the same time that you have your weekly oscillators of SPY and QQQ over here in overbought territory. Okay, both of the stochastic and that are both in overbought territory. Now, something I pointed out is DIA. I was saying that this is something that suggests we probably are going to be getting a decent sized move. All right, this was crossing up from oversold territory. All right, that is, like, hey, you don't have a lot of room here on DIA to sell off there. All right, but holy crap, look at that going on. And something else we also had was we had this triple bullish divergence going on the daily CCI here. All right, on DIA. So that was another thing. All right, but you come over here to Apple, and I didn't see this yesterday, but look at what happened with Mr. Apple. You had that sick, nasty gravestone doji candle slash shooting star candlestick. Did not form the island gap reversal because you would have needed to gap down today, but it still did serve as a strong reversal candlestick. And you do have your stochastic crossing down, and your CCI is hinged down from the sell momentum line, or your momentum sell line. So we're going to have to watch what happens at this gap fill, right? I think something is going to be happening. We're going to be talking about it on the indices, all right? But yeah, all right, this is the main component of SPY and QQ. So if this is doing something, the others are, you know, they're going to be coming along for the ride. All right. So yeah, all right. But yeah, let's start off with the daily time frame over here on SPY and QQQ. Let's actually start off with VIX. We'll start off with Mr. VIX here. All right. You do have your stochastic crossing up from overbought territory, and you do have this, just like we had the weekly bullish Harami candlestick formation, you do have the daily bullish Harami candlestick formation that ended up forming yesterday. We're looking for confirmation, which needs a close above 1976. All right, so you can close above this, get your confirmation here, come back into the pattern range here. All right, and then as long as you hold, as long as you don't have any close under 1848, then you are good, and this is a confirmed candlestick formation, and you will be off to the races. All right. So that is something that could be on the table here. All right. I don't know if that happens, but I'm just putting it out there because I think there's a chance that does end up taking place. All right. But yeah, oscillators coming off of oversold territory. We were expecting a bounce. This is exactly what we were expecting that is taking place. Okay. Now over here on SPY and QQ, we'll start off with QQ. All right, QQ did end up reversing right off of our 303.15 gap fill, as well as the golden pocket, which is just made up of the 0.78 fib and the 0.618 fib. All right, it rejected right off of the 0.618 fib there. All right, SPY did not end up making it to its gap fill. It slightly missed it. All right, slightly missed it there. All right, and how important are gap fills, guys? Well, this will show you right here, all right? 288.37 was the low of this candlestick right here. 288.36 is that gap fill. All right, right here, the high is 304. The gap fill was at 303.15, and you have now since reversed $7 off of there. So gaps matter, guys. They matter, which is why we use them. All right, so yeah. All right, so quick little plug actually on the Patreon, okay? We did end up having, so not only did we have our call indice trade end up running, our QQ call trade. Now, I was completely out by 200%. I had sold off everything. I had made that alert. But if you didn't sell off everything, all right, and you really just held it out for this final target here, which the second target was 303.15, you did end up getting to close out with a 300% gain. So you got that chance there. And that was literally entered right at the low over there. All right. And then we did end up entering puts, all right, on that gap fill. So again, you had another opportunity to, now with that, you should be up 40 to 50% from that entry. Those are more dated though, I will say, but anybody could have taken this entry and used shorter dated contract. And holy crap, you would have printed massively on both of these call outs there. All right, guys, if you want consistently high probability trade setups, okay, and if you want my trade plans to go with them, risk management, entries, exits, targets, all right, if you want these things, okay, the Patreon. If you are someone who doesn't know too much about options, but you want to learn about the options, Patreon. If you're someone who sees things on the chart all the time and just doesn't know how to, like, you're not confident enough to be pulling triggers, Patreon. You can see, like, if you're seeing things on the chart and I'm seeing things on the chart, there you go. Use me as your confirmation. All right. Patreon. All right, guys. So that was my one plug here. All right. Maybe I'll bring it up again throughout the video. We'll see. All right. But yeah, guys, it is already paid for years and years of itself. So any member can testify for that, all right, or clarify that, I guess would be the word for that. But all right, let's get back into the TA. All right, so we did not end up having this increasing buy volume here, which did suggest that we were going to get the follow through on the next day, all right, which is why I was saying that we likely have an intraday reversal on our hands. That did end up being the case, all right. But I want to say right now, DIA does have this increasing sell volume. So that is something to take note of. Okay, you had the increasing buy volume here that marked the bottom. Well, now you have the increasing sell volume. Is that going to mark the top? I don't know. Okay, we're going to be talking about on the lower time frames where I think we are going to be bouncing here on SPY and QQ. But this is something to take note of. Okay, it's something to take note of. You do have your stochastic crossing down. I do think you're probably going to have that increasing sell volume here by the end of the day. It's currently 2:44 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over here. And And yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, it's a very solid chance you do end up seeing that volume spike towards the end of the day, and you have that increased sell volume, which suggests you're going to be taken lower intraday tomorrow. It doesn't have to close lower intraday tomorrow or close lower tomorrow, but it likely goes lower intraday. All right, is what this is signaling to me. It's the same exact thing over here on SPY. You have the increasing sell volume, and look at that. All right, I think it was either going to be this 398.69 that gave you your bounce, or it's going to be this 294.43 that gives you your bounce on QQQ. All right, I think it's looking like we are going to get the bounce on QQQ. All right, let's actually look at what's going on in DXY. I told you guys that this would be the most painful situation or scenario for the market if we ended up flipping that, coming back, and going off the races instead of having a pullback back to this trend line and then coming over there and doing that. All right, we didn't end up getting the pullback. We got the most dangerous scenario, yeah, honestly, we got the most painful scenario for the indices. Like, this is it. All right, you see this get flipped by the dollar. Holy Jesus, guys, you're off to the races. You're off to the races. All right. And also, look what happened on Apple. I don't know what's going to happen here on this 151.11 gap fill, but I do think buyers are probably going to step in again at the 200 MAs on SPY QQ on Apple. All right. We're going to have to see what happens here. I know I said that sellers probably will have enough strength to break them on the next one. I don't know. We're going to have to see about that, okay? Maybe they don't even get tested. I would say right now they probably don't even get tested, all right? They probably end up bouncing you on the indices before they get tested, because if they get tested, there's a chance of them breaking, like I was saying, all right? And that wouldn't be in the best interest of the dealers, all right? But yeah, guys, I still think this 40814 gap fill will be filled, all right, before the meeting on March 22nd. So that is something to note as well. All right, now moving on to the lower time frames. Oh, actually, before we go over that, let's just look at this, okay? I think I actually did show you guys this already. All right, I showed you the 2-year, all right? And the 2-year is literally showing that the Fed is likely about to have to chase, all right? Very hard chase, all right? So that's showing us that a surprising shock is probably coming, that Jerome literally just hinted that he would be doing. All right. And I say hinted because he didn't say he would be doing that. He said he's open to it. But guess what? He didn't say that last time, and it didn't happen last time. Now you said it, and it's probably going to happen. And then you have the thing he goes off of doing this. This is absolute insanity. This is August, guys. This is the August contract, and this thing is just, this is ridiculous. What the heck? All right, your low back over here was, I think, October 13th, or was the 21st, is one or the other. All right, right here. All right, you are 4.9% there, 5.6% there. All right, hang on, guys. Let me do some real quick. All right. Oh, let's let the dogs out. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. All right. But yeah, guys, all right, like this thing, I've been talking about this for a while, all right? If the bond market is doing one thing, all right, and the stock market isn't doing yet, it's only a matter of time until it starts doing, all right? CPI, if it comes in cool, it can shock, okay? It can shock, and it could make the bond market start like depricing in what it's pricing in right now, all right? But I don't think it's going to make any, like, it's not going to make a notable change and bring you all the way back down to where it was before, where Jerome was, where he would be able to just stay on the easygoing course that the market was rallying on, right? But I was saying, like, hey, this can't happen. Jerome has to put the hammer down, or bad things going to start happening. Bad things start happening. This is exactly what I was saying. It's starting to happen, all right? So it really is only a matter of time until he starts, like, he puts the hammer down, all right? That's what I'm getting at. All right, and then the stock market does what bond market is saying, and there you go. All right, I think it's going to be a slingshot downward. The fact that we are still up here, all right, I think it's going to be a whole ass wave of selling, and that could be seen here on the weekly time frame. You're going to see these things literally cycle back down. All right, and that actually can be seen here. Bitcoin runs with the indices. All right, you have it coming up to its 200 daily MA, all right, 200 weekly MA. All right, and then forming a bearish divergence on the CCI, the weekly CCI. So you have a bearish weekly divergence going on here on your RSI as well, all right? Literally stopped at the point 58.71 on both of these. All right, so you have a weekly bearish divergence on the RSI and CCI right as you come up and get 2 candlestick rejections on your 200 weekly moving average. All right, I think it's very likely that you know, we see weeks of selling from here. All right, I think it is about to start. Okay, I didn't want to jump the gun before, but you know, today Jerome did end up saying things that you know, it tells me, hey, we have what I was saying is like likely coming. It's probably definitely coming. All right. Look at that weekly bearish engulfing candlestick on the second day of the week. Look at that. All right, guys. But coming over to the 4-hour time frame. So now we'll look at the lower time frames here on SPY and QQQ. All right, we did end up rallying into QQQ's gap fill here with a bearish divergence on our 4-hour CCI as the RSI came right into the 70 line. Okay, I think it hit like 68 or 60, yeah, 68.13 there. All right, just showing us that hey, a pullback was likely around the corner. And yeah, all right, the same exact thing happened over here on SPY. You had this bearish divergence on the CCI, the 4-hour CCI here. Your stochastic started crossing up. There was your peak. All right, right there at the top of the RSI right there. And then what really gave it away, all right, I was telling you guys if we do end up rallying and filling these gaps before having that pullback, then all it's going to do is it's going to form a bearish divergence, all right? That did end up happening with what I just showed you on that 4-hour bearish divergence, but it also ended up creating a triple bearish divergence on SPY's 1-hour CCI from here to here to here. All right, so this whole one, there you go. All right, but the reason I think you start getting a bounce, guys, is what's popping up here on the hourly time frame over here on QQQ and VIX, and also, or not QQQ and VIX, SPY and QQ, but also VIX. All right, so like I said, I think the bounce comes on QQ's gap fill or it comes on SPY's gap fill. Not sure which one's going to do the trick. All right, but as you see, it went through SPY's, or we're still getting selling stepping in. So I think it's probably going to come down here to 294.43. All right, which again, by the way, if you guys are in the Patreon, congrats to anybody who ended up taking these. All right, these, holy crap! All right, literally first few days, guys, and we have nailed so many trades. Which I'm going to promise right now, this isn't always going to happen. This is not always going to be the case because these are high probability trade setups. We have to wait until these high probability trade setups come to us, all right? And they're not always going to have many opportunities coming our way, all right? But the indices will always be our bread and butter. That will be providing trades each and every week, all right? Well, I don't know each and every week, but likely each and every week, all right? We will have some sort of gains coming in provided by the $39.99 Patreon. All right, and then also there will be the big bazookas, and those are the big bazookas, big beluga whales. All right, and there actually are, guys, there are some whales on the Patreon, so that is pretty freaking cool to hear about that. There are 4 of them. That's cool, dude. There are beginners in there. There are like intermediate, and then there are people with hundreds of thousands of dollars who like. That is just so cool. All right, that is cool to have whales. I will be a whale in the upcoming year with you guys. All right, so yeah, all right, but yeah, guys, we do have this bullish divergence going on the 1-hour CCI here on QQ and SPY. All right, so we have that occurring on both of them, and we also have a triple bullish divergence. No, not triple, just a bullish divergence over on DIA. Do we have the same thing going on IWM? No, we do not. All right, but I'm just going to say right now, all right, like I think it probably happens when we come down here, all right, but QQ is at the 200 MA on the hourly time frame. SPY is at its gap fill. So I wouldn't be surprised to start seeing that bounce. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys right now, all right, I have taken most of my puts off the table. All right, I may have just one on the table. All right, because I think a bounce is more likely than not, and I think I'm going to get a chance to reload those bad boys. Yeah, guys, seriously, congrats to anybody who, anyone who got probably, we'll say 40 to 50% literally just from yesterday into today. And you guys don't have to take the trades that I call out. You guys literally don't. There's the contracts and strikes that I call out. They're being used for a reason. I cannot have anybody getting stopped out. And I don't want I'm building up a track record here, guys. In 6 months from now, 3 months from now, a year from now, I want to have a solid track record. I want to have above a 70% hit rate. It's high. It's a very high hit rate. You don't need to have that high of a hit rate to be profitable in this game, as long as you have trade and risk management. So, like, with that being included in there, there you go. All right. But for example, someone could have had a 10xer here. Someone could have had a 5xer here. All right. Just because I'm calling out more dated contracts, all right, does not mean anybody has to take these. All right. But the entries alone are valid enough. The entries alone are worth $39.99 a month, in my personal opinion. But for anybody who just, is new to this and wants to learn the options game without without losing, like, hey, no guarantees, but like, yeah, I set things up. Like, if you join, you'll see exactly what I mean, like right off the bat. I set things up this way just so I cannot have backlash coming my way from this, all right? But yeah, guys, just know the entries alone on the indices are extremely profitable, all right? That will be something that will be consistent, all right? I can't say how often trades are going to be popping up, but I will say I think we've had 5+ other like separate trades pop up aside from the indices anyway, so there's been that. All right, back to the video. I'm sorry I talked a little ADHD mind, okay? But yeah, I do think a bounce starts coming out of this. I don't know if it's going to be at that gap fill or not. It probably is, honestly, but like, you do have things popping up right now that suggest you could be bouncing before. You have the bullish divergence on the RSI, the 30-minute RSI over here, and 30-minute CCI. Stochastics begin to cross up. I don't know, okay? But I also do understand that what he said today is that's something that can shock the market, all right? So you can very well keep going lower. You don't even have to stop at these gap fills. I just think it's likely that you do end up getting that bounce over on those gap fills. We come over here to Mr. VIX, all right? And Mr. VIX is just starting to pop off on the 4-hour time frame. It's literally the exact opposite to what we got going on here on SPY and QQQ, all right? But you come over here to the hourly time frame, and you are deeply overbought here, all right? But you don't have any bearish divergence, all right? So, I mean, it's my warning signs just aren't popping off. But the fact that it is so overbought here, and you do have the bullish divergence popping up on SPY and QQQ's CCI, suggests, like, hey, like, buyers should start stepping in, or they are already stepping in, and, VIX could start seeing that pullback, right? But this is exactly what we were expecting, guys, all right? Just know if VIX does close above 1976, then I'm just saying, all right, there is the likelihood that you get the follow through into the next day, all right, and this could be used as our bottom. I don't know. We're gonna see. All right, but yeah, guys, with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.